All right. So it's Saturday morning fun with Jay Snarek. So let's just jump right into it. Everybody ready? And so you can see here, we're at the end of glycolysis, and now we have a pyruvate molecule. The pyruvate molecule is going to go into a transition stage, forming an acetyl-CoA. Of course, there's going to be a reduced NAD molecule. This NADH is going to go onto the electron transport system in the mitochondria and produce ATP. All right. Now, of course, that's not what this topic is about, so you can relax. But this is what I trained people on for 20 years. I was a college professor. I taught biology, physiology, and all this cell stuff, and it made me a living. But what I'm going to share with you today is some of the stuff that really changed my life. Jim Rohn, a motivational speaker, an excellent motivational speaker, noted that formal education, like I had with being a biologist, formal education will make you a living, whereas self-education will make you a fortune. And this is very, very true. And this is when I say self-education, I'm talking about this kind of stuff that you guys are doing right now. Saturday morning, right? I'm sure everybody would rather be doing, other things, but you're here and you're trying to learn how to get, more paying customers. You're trying to build your business and better yourself. And it's really things like this that's the difference between success and failure in a lot of ways. I mean, I know 11 years ago, my wife and I, we started our business, and I was a full-time professor. My wife was a registered nurse, and we built that business early morning before we went to work. We got home from work. We worked on it all night long. We worked on it all day Saturday. We worked on it all day Sunday. And along the way, we learned and learned and learned. I mean, neither one of us have a business background or marketing or anything. I've never taken a business college course in my life. So everything that I learned and was able to do, and everything I'm going to teach you today, was all through self-education, through reading books, studying people who have done it before, watching webinars on Saturday mornings, just like you guys are doing. So the fact that you're here is awesome. I mean, you guys rock, and that means you're really trying to, improve and better yourselves and your business, and that's terrific. So with that, today, let's move on to the topic. Before I do that, let me just finish with the business. So my wife and I, we built this business. We started in 2011 with nothing. And by the time 2015 came along, the business exceeded the salary we're making from our business exceeded our salaries as a professor and a nurse. We were able to, leave our jobs and move to Florida. And it definitely changed our life. And the process that we went through in order to do that and build that business so successfully, a lot of what we did is what I'm going to talk about today. Okay, so hopefully you guys can get some real use out of this. So today, how to get paying customers with Jay Snarek. All right, and this is required for a successful business, how to get paying customers. So what is a successful business to you, right? So, I mean, it gives you peace of mind. You don't have to work for somebody else. And that was very important to me. That's one of the reasons I wanted to build a business. I mean, I had a pretty good job as a professor, but I just wanted something more. And I certainly did not want somebody telling me what to do. So it gave me a lot of peace of mind. And that was sort of a personal thing for me. And everyone's different, but for me, that was very important. Makes you feel proud, right? I mean, when somebody asks you, hey, what do you do for a living? You say, I own my own business. I mean, there's some pride there, definitely. So that's a great reason to want to have a business. Free time, you can do things on your schedule. Now, the free time thing is, in the beginning, there's not going to be a lot of free time, because in order to build a successful business, it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of persistence. So there's not going to be a whole heck of a lot of free time in the beginning. But once you get your business built and you put in the processes and automation and things like that, you're going to have a lot of free time. I have a lot of free time on my hands now. Enough free time where I can volunteer and do things like this and maybe pass some of the stuff on to other people. So it's cool. And of course, the most important thing, right? Give me the money, baby. You gotta you gotta get that money somehow. And building a business and having a business is one of the best ways to do it. I mean, really creating wealth is really mainly done through, equities, real estate, and businesses. So there's nothing wrong with that. Money certainly isn't everything. I mean, if you had a list of, 10 most important things, money would probably be at the very bottom of it. But with that being said, I've lived without money and with money, and living with money is a heck of a lot better. So what's a successful business? Well, we're going to use this following definition that I came up with. Definition of successful business we're going to use is it produces a real, usable, and dependable monthly income, right? In other words, at the end of the month, you have money that you're going to use to pay your bills, invest, save, buy a car, a boat, vacation, etc. And it was all generated 100% from your business. So what do you need for a successful business? My God, look at this laundry list, right? And this isn't even a complete list. Look at all these things you need for a successful business. No wonder the majority of people who start businesses, it fails. I mean, that's just the bottom line. It takes a lot, right? I mean, look at some of these things. First of all, you have to have something to sell, some product or service. You need someone to sell it to. You have to have tremendous customer service. And just as a side note, you see this little, I kind of abstracted this because customer service, people ask you about your business all the time, and they'll say, well, what makes you different from other people's businesses? And I can tell you that one of the things you can differentiate yourself from other businesses is tremendous customer service. I'm very sensitive to customer service because, of being in business. So when I go around to stores and have people come over to do work and stuff like that, I pay attention to customer service. And so too often, way too often, I'm sure all of you can have the same sort of stories. The customer service is atrocious. So if you can just focus on customer service, you can really differentiate yourself. So anyway, that was just a little side note. You got to figure out how much you're going to charge. You have to know your expenses. How are you going to get paid? You're going to get paid by credit card, PayPal, check, cash. What's working or not. I mean, you need to track everything in your business because you got to know what's working, what's not working. So you need analytics. You need to create processes and automate systems. You need customer retention programs and accounting and bookkeeping and legal. And you need to know liability and asset protection. And you have to have customer policies, and you got to hire people and manage people and on and on. And it's all true. But what's the number one thing you need? You need to get paying customers. Okay. Because the goal is cash flow. And what that means is at the end of the month, you have more money coming in and you're putting in your pocket that's going out. Cash flow is number one. I mean, the bottom line is after a while, if you have a business and you're not making cash flow, it's truly not a business. It's a hobby. That's just the facts. So you hear the word sales, you hear revenue. I mean, that's just another way to say paying customers, right? So the big question that we're going to really look at today is how do we get paying customers? Boom, direct hit acquisition. All right. So direct hit acquisition is, as I have noted here, it's 100% based on tried and true strategies and tactics. There's nothing that I'm going to talk about today that I came up with on my own. These are all strategies and tactics that have been around longer than all of us. I can tell you that. All right. What I did though, and why this is a little different, is I took all of those strategies and tactics and I put it into and organized it into what I coined direct hit acquisition. And it's in it. What I did really is I just made all of these strategies and tactics into an organized, easy to understand, simple way that anyone without a marketing background or without a business background can implement it into their business to make more money, all right, and to have a successful business. So that's what direct hit acquisition is, and this is really going to be the focus of the entire presentation. So I'll keep coming back to this. All right, so direct hit acquisition, some of the major features. It's going to attract paying customers with little resistance. Next, you don't have to have a marketing background. It's easy to understand and apply to your business, okay? Just a quick thing I want to tell you is as I'm going through this entire presentation training today, always think, how can I apply this to my business? Think your business, okay? So keep that in your mind, keep that focus. Customers are going to love you because you're helping them. All right. Now, notice I underlined helping, because that's what it's all about. If you can help people, you can be successful. And you're going to end up, not only that, but you're going to end up with repeat business and referrals, which is going to contribute to that success. It's going to position your product and service so you can charge more. These are things we're going to talk about during the presentation. All right. So what you're going to learn about in today's training. Number one, I'm going to give you the big picture of what direct acquisition is, okay? And it's three critical components. You're going to discover who your etched customer is, which right now, etched customer means nothing to you, but it certainly will by the time we get done with this training. You're going to learn how to create a message and offer that matches precisely what your etched customer wants. You're going to learn how to get that message and offer delivered to them. We're going to identify 8 elements that you absolutely must have in your message and offer. That is, if you want it to work. You're going to discover secret magic mind voodoo that will encourage people to buy from you. All right. Now, I'll tell you right now, this alone is worth the price of admission, right? As a matter of fact, if you go through this entire process, this entire training today, and you really make an effort to implement some of these things into your business, and you don't see money flowing in, extra money, and you don't increase for business, I'll give you your complete 100% refund that you paid today. As a matter of fact, I'll double it. I'll give you double your money back. That's the guarantee today. Okay. Now keep that guarantee in mind. All right. Next and last, at the end of this presentation, I'm going to give you action steps that show you how to use direct hit acquisition in your business so you can get paying customers just like I did. You can't have a successful business without paying customers. I know, because it only took me 4 failed businesses to figure this out. I know in the beginning, I told you in 2011 that we created a business and it was tons of success that, you know, where I'm sitting today. But the background of that is the prior 6 years to that, I actually went through 4 failed businesses, 2 on my own and 2 with me and my wife. Okay. So the fact that it took me 4 failed businesses to figure out that you have to have paying customers in order to have a successful business, that's really puts the J in genius. Okay. If you know what I'm saying. So the bottom line is we're all into getting paying customers business. It doesn't matter what your business is. You got to have paying customers. So next thing I want to tell you is, warning. Not everyone is your customer. This whole idea is, well, if I just blanket market to everybody, the more I throw out there, the more customers I'm going to get. And that's not going to be a successful approach, believe me. All right. So let me give you an example. So we have Joe the plumber here, who is going to try to drum up some business, and he's going to market with some nice, expensive, glossy postcards. And he's been driving around and he sees all of these big apartment buildings going up, and he sees all these people, and he's thinking dollar sign, right? He sees, and so he's like, okay, I'm going to market to them. So he gets the address, he has all of them mailed out, and he does thousands of them, and he's waiting and waiting. I mean, he doesn't get any calls, and he can't understand why he doesn't get any calls. Well, obviously, he doesn't get any calls because people who live in apartments don't call plumbers to fix their leaks and stopped up toilets, right? They call their landlord. So this guy who thought he was doing a good job, Joe the plumber, he ended up wasting a lot of money because he didn't know and think about who his target customers were, right? So really what he should have done is he should have made a direct call to the landlord of the building, and maybe he could have got some plumbing work that way. All right. Now, let's play Who is your customer? Pop quiz number 1. Who above are you going to market your super duper denture cream to? Right? Well, obviously, trying to market super duper denture cream to this customer over here, you're going to be wasting your money, right? And just like, who are you going to market your miraculous maximum strength zit cream to, right? Well, obviously, the 17-year-old over here is where your target customer is going to be. So these are just obvious examples, but this is the kind of stuff that eludes you if when you're deep in business and you're trying to just make money and market and things like that. These are the kind of things that that you can't overlook, because you'll end up having unsuccessful campaigns and wasting a lot of money. Okay, so what you need to do is, step 1, you got to figure out who already wants what you have to offer. You ready for this? Step 2, offer it to them. Now, that seems like an obvious thing. But again, when you're when you're doing business and you're so focused on a success path, these simple things tend to elude you, right? This is one of those, again, this puts the J in genius, right? But it's something that you have to really take seriously. All right, so how do we do this? Let me just get a drink of water here. We do this through direct hit acquisition. So direct hit acquisition combines knowing exactly who your customer is, where to find them, and how to get an irresistible message and offer in front of them so they buy from you. So let me give you a quick overview of the major components of my direct hit acquisition. All right. So first we have etching the customer, right? So your etch customer is going to be exactly who your customer is. You need to know who they are, how old they are, what they want, their greatest desires, where they live, their fears, what keeps them up at night. I mean, you want to know them inside and out. So that's the first thing. Once you know them and once you know what they want or what they want to get rid of, right? What are the desires or what are their fears? Then the next step is you craft a message and an offer that addresses those desires or fears or whatever it is. And it has to match exactly to solve their problem. And then once you do that, the last step is you have to get that message in front of them so they can see the message. And we call that delivery. So when you get the etching the customer, the message and offer right, and the delivery right, you're going to end up with a direct hit. And with a direct hit, you're going to acquire a paying customer, hence the name direct hit acquisition. Now, notice this little starburst here. Now, the reason I'm highlighting that is because it took me about 20 minutes to make that ridiculous thing, okay? So I'm very proud of it. All right, now we can move on. I got my money's worth out of my yellow starburst. So let's just talk about the first major component, which again is etching your customer. So etch means to be cut or carved, to be clearly defined, to become fixed in memory. You need a precise image, understanding, and description of exactly who your customer is and where to find them. You must know their deepest wants, desires, and fears. This needs to be carved, or better yet, etched into your brain. Okay. It's more important to know what your customer wants, desires, and fears than what they need. Let me tell you a story about needs versus desires or wants, okay? My brother built a successful business using a lot of the principles that we're going to be talking about today. And he went out and he bought a very expensive Porsche. Now, he needs to be able to get from his house to the store. He needs to be able to get from his house to the post office, right? A Chevy Cruze can certainly meet that need of getting from point A to point B just as well as any other vehicle. However, he went out and spent 3 or 4 times that amount to have a Porsche. So he didn't buy this Porsche based on needs of what this thing is supposed to do. He based it on desire, right? He didn't buy based on needs. He bought it based on wants and desires. Why? Because he likes the way driving a Porsche makes him feel. And you think I would know better. And there I am. I just put a down payment on this model car to have a 2023 be built to the specifications that I want, a car that's going to cost about 6 figures by the time I get done with it, right? But you might say, well, I'm just like everyone else. I desire it. But the truth is that I actually need this car. It's a little different. And the reason being is because the salesperson, when I got into the car, they said, man, that car makes you look handsome. And I said, yeah, I need this car. It definitely makes me look handsome. And you know, a salesperson, especially a car salesperson, isn't going to, tell a mistruth, right? So I need this car. All right. So next, we must know the wants, desires, and fears deep in the subconscious mind of our etch customers. Now, notice I highlighted subconscious mind. All right, that's very important. I know it ultimately sounds like a bunch of touchy-feely psycho stuff, but it's really based on real science. All right. Recently, a Harvard Business School professor said 95% of our purchase decision making takes place in the subconscious mind. Now, this isn't, just, guessing what buying decision, is happening in the subconscious mind. This is based on real research. This is based on scanning, images, scan images of the brain, MRI images of the brain to see what lights up when people are making different decisions. And time again, it's a part of the emotional, the emotional part of the brain that's lighting up to make these decisions. As a matter of fact, I saw a study that said, that showed that people with damage to certain parts of their emotional, parts of their brain are incapable of making purchase decisions. Okay. So it's emotions, whether we like it or not. 95% of the time we're buying stuff, we're walking around like zombies. It's just the way it is, right? No matter how logical and pragmatic we think we are, this is the truth. And we need to understand that if you're going to get paying customers, right? So every day our subconscious mind is intentionally influenced to affect our behavior. Call it voodoo brain control or manipulation. I know manipulation isn't a great word to use, but it's kind of true. What's going on? Let me show you, okay? Local grocery store. I like to call this grocery store brain voodoo, science of getting you to buy more stuff. We'll look at our local grocery store, Publix. As soon as you walk into the store, the first thing there is a bakery and then the deli, right? There's a reason for that. As soon as you walk in, you smell it, okay? And the smell is going to actually stimulate your digestive system. It makes your salivary glands start to secrete saliva, right? I mean, Pavlov actually, showed us that. And it's actually going to turn on your stomach. Your stomach will start to churn. It'll start to release digestive juices. Your small intestines will start to churn, right? I mean, you hear people say, oh, that smells so good. Just the smell alone, it makes my mouth water. Well, that's a real thing. That's physiology. It's an autonomic response. It's true. The churning of the movement of your stomach and motility of your intestines starts to push air around in your intestines. And that's what triggers a growling stomach. So anyway, so you walk into Publix, right there they have the bakery and the deli, and that alone is going to subconsciously, right, autonomically, it's going to increase your hunger drive. And when we're hungry, we know we're going to buy more. The next thing is they place necessities such as milk, eggs, meats, all in the back of the store. Why? Because you're going to have to walk through the length of the store in order to get these common items. And as you walk through, you're more likely to buy something. I mean, the goal of a grocery store is to keep you in the store as long as possible, right? Walking up and down the aisles, right? So this is all, researched out to track our behavior and make changes based on our behavior, right? So the most popular items are also placed in the middle of the aisle. So that means that you have to walk down the entire, halfway through the aisle to get the most popular items, most commonly bought items. And then what are you going to do? Well, you're going to continue down that aisle. So you're going to have, more time walking down that aisle and a better chance of buying something. Okay. Expensive brand names are always placed at eye level, right? So things that you buy are going to be placed at eye level because we're more prone to buy things right at eye level for whatever reason we are. Okay. And then you see less expensive items are down at the bottom. You actually have to bend over to buy the cheap stuff. Nobody does that, right? Or the most expensive items are going to be placed at the top. Now, it's not even, I'm not sure that the top items, the stores care that much about, the people buying the most expensive items. It's just more used as a decoy because most people, what they do is they don't want to buy the cheapest stuff. They don't want to buy the most expensive stuff. They buy the stuff in the middle. So basically the store puts in the middle at eye level what they want you to buy. It ain't a deal. Publix does this all the time. I couldn't believe it, right? Get 2 for $5. You think, oh, that sounds like a deal. But if you only want one, you bring it up there and it rings up for $2.50. All right. But they're getting you to buy more. Okay. Next, a legitimate deal, right? Buy one, get one free. So that's a legitimate deal, but it's always placed in Publix is placed as soon as you walk in, right? Because now you see buy one, get one free. Well, geez, I didn't come in here to buy, Campbell's chicken noodle soup, but I can buy one, get one free. So I'm going to start doing that. All right. So the thing is that when you start buying as well, you get into what's called the buying frenzy. So if they can get you buying stuff as soon as you walk in, you're more likely to buy more stuff as you walk around the store. I know it sounds crazy, but this is all scientifically researched and proven, believe me. And if you go to your store and it's different than what I just talked about here, it's because they have research that shows that you and the people that frequent that store are doing, their behavior is a little bit different, but it's all researched. So it's all hitting us at the subconscious level. The lighting, the music, the colors, they spritz water on vegetables, which has no practical use other than making them glisten and look more appealing to buy. All of these things play in our subconscious and emotions. Now, Dr. Robert Cialdini, he's a famed social psychologist. In the early 80s, he published his theory of influence in a very popular book called Influence, where he describes 6 principles that influence our behavior. So the theory of influence explains what makes people do what they want to do. And these things existed since the rise of our species, and they all hit our subconscious level because they're biological, they're ingrained in us. Later, so you don't want to miss this later in the webinar. I'm going to show you how to apply 2 of these principles to help you get more paying customers. So you don't want to miss that. All this stuff is really important stuff to know so you can get paying customers. So let me take another sip of water here. Excuse me. When we buy, we use a little logic, but mostly emotion. You're starting to get, I keep drilling this emotional thing because you're going to see that when you want to really target, customers, you got to hit them where emotions are. All right. So that's why I'm trying to prove to you that how important this is. So when we buy with emotions, and then we justify with logic. It's not the other way around. All right. So there I am. You say, well, how the heck can somebody, justify with logic buying a car, that's almost 6 figures that, is going to basically get you from point A to point B, just like any other car would. And I could tell you things like, geez, I worked hard all my life. I deserve it. I don't have any debt. I can afford it. No problem. It's not going to hurt me. Just think, me and my wife and I are going to be driving down a road with the cool breeze blowing in our hair. It's going to bring us closer together because we're going to be having so much fun. I'm going to have the top down and sun's going to be coming down, which is going to stimulate vitamin D, which is going to increase calcium absorption, giving me strong bones. I mean, really, I need this car to give me a stronger marriage and to keep me healthy, right? Now, that's the absurdity, right, that we go through sometimes to justify, absurd purchases. So keep that in mind. All right. So why do we really buy? There's 2 main forces in marketing. This is what we focus on. We focus on the buying of people who want pleasure and to remove pain. Now, when I say pain, I'm not talking about somebody has a headache or somebody stubbed their toe. I'm talking about emotional pain. Pain triggers frustration, anxiety, embarrassment, shame, stress, worry. These are the things that really motivate people. As a matter of fact, if you can pinpoint in your business how you can solve somebody's pain, this is exactly what you want to focus on in your marketing. Now, let me give you an example of our etch customer. So now we're getting back to our etch customer. Okay, this is going to be the etch customer. And this particular etch customer, I'm going to give you a roofing example, right? So this guy, about a month and a half ago, he got his roof fixed because it was leaking. And what had happened was it leaked through, it damaged the ceilings, it damaged the walls. And so he called the roofer to get it, to get the roof fixed. And of course, the first roofer he called didn't show up. And then they got there, they did a bad job. They charged him more than he said he was going to be charged. And then, so finally he said, okay. And then he called somebody else and he got the, his inside ceiling fixed where the damage and his walls fixed and everything like that. And then 5 weeks later, with the next hard downpour, it all happened all over again. All right. His leaking through is ruining his his ceiling and his walls, and he's just out of his mind. He's so frustrated and stressed out. He's just, his wife is yelling, the dog is barking, the kids are crying. I mean, he just can't take anymore. Goes out to his mailbox and he sees this postcard that you sent them. Do you have a leaky roof that's causing damage to the inside of your home? We will fix your roof leak. Here's our promise. We'll solve your problem in one day, and we 100% guarantee it, or you don't pay. And if for some reason we fail and damage occurs to the inside of your home because of this, we'll make the repairs at our cost. You can relax. We fix leaks like yours in your neighborhood all the time. Completed in a day, 100% guaranteed, or you don't pay. Never pay above the estimate, prompt, dependable. You got his neighbor saying, after 2 other companies failed, these guys finally fixed my leak, right? Now, you know that in this guy's state of mind, if he got this postcard in a timely manner, you know he's going to call. I know I would, okay? And in this case, the message and the offer, which was the postcard and which was in the postcard, matches desire of this individual to get rid of the problem. It's very simple, but it's so powerful in marketing. So, time for all of us to do some work now. Not just me, I'm the only one working here. Time for you guys to really start thinking, okay? So let's do some work. I'm going to do an easy exercise to discover your etched customer. Remember, keep focusing. This is about you. This is about your business. So as we go through the rest of this, think you, and your business and your customer. Okay, I'm just giving really simple, sort of some almost absurd examples, but you want to focus on yourself and your customers. So as we've already established, etching your customer is all about understanding them on a deeper, once again, yes, emotional level. Goal is to describe your customer's deepest desires and fears even better than they can themselves. If you can describe what your customer is feeling even better and articulate it, whether it be in words or in some sort of print, better than they can, you're in, believe me. All right. So we must know facts and feelings in order to do this about our etched customer. So here's our facts and feelings. Now, at the end of this webinar, I'm going to give you a website that you can go to and download these worksheets. And so you can go through and fill these in yourself. So don't worry about scribbling everything down right now. Just kind of listen up here. So let's do facts first. Things you need to know. You need to know, how old are they, right? I mean, like we said before, I mean, as an 18-year-old, 19-year-old, 20-year-old, is the 40-year-old, are they seniors, right? Where do they live? Do they live in, a big fancy house? Do they live in, more of a middle-class neighborhood? Are they primarily male or female? What type of house do they live in? Do they live in an apartment? Do they live, in a neighborhood? Do they live in a rural area where they have lots of land? Do they have kids? Is it a newborn? Are they in middle school? Are they married and out of the house? Are they married and still living with you, right? So you want to know that. What do they wear? Does brand name mean a lot to them? What's their overload of income? What are their hobbies? What do they like to do? Where do they hang out? Who do they speak with? Who do they associate with? You got to learn all of these things. Now, let me give you an example of this facts thing, how you would utilize this. Excuse me, I'm not used to talking so much. All right, so here's an example, landscape company, okay? So first, you got to determine who your etched customer is. And then second, you got to create the offer and message to match the etched customer's problems or desires that you will solve. Notice I underlined, you will solve. You need to solve people's problems. If you can solve people's problems, you can be a huge success. So let's look at the first example. So let's say that we determined that our etched customer, they live in a rich neighborhood, high income, expensive houses, right? Now you're a landscape company, right? This is your etched customer. So your message and offer to match that is going to be focusing on premium services, expensive mulches, exotic shrubs, water features, elaborate lighting and things like that. Price isn't going to be as much of an issue. Versus if you determine that your etched customer, right, lives in an average neighborhood, middle-class income, basic house, the message and offer is going to be very different. They're just going to want basic landscaping. Dependability, affordability is going to be very important to them. And price also is going to be very important to them. So notice that the message and offer has to exactly match the etch customer, because if you get this wrong, your phone's not going to be ringing. I can tell you that right now. Try to sell a $3,500 exotic shrub to somebody with, who lives in a middle-class neighborhood. You're not going to be very successful. So your message and offer always has to match exactly your etch customer. So that was based on just facts. Now let's go to the feelings. Remember, the feelings is also, this is going to be your big one, right? What's really going to sell. And so you're going to answer these with, once again, your product and service in mind. So sort of some of the things that you're going to go through is, first, let's look at wants and desires. What are they trying to achieve? What is the most important thing to them? What is the best experience that they can have? I mean, you really want to write all of this out, all right? After, later on, you want to write all this out. Describe the very best experience they can have with dealing with somebody who provides your type of service or product. What makes them feel so proud that they're going to want to tell somebody else? What makes them feel confident, secure with their buying decision? And you got the pain. What fear, frustration, or worry are they trying to get rid of? What keeps them up at night? What are they afraid of? What are they angry about? What might be their frustration about their current service or product that they're using? Okay, so you need to have these answers for your etch customer. So remember our roofing guy, right? I mean, this guy was out of his mind over what happened. And well, first of all, why do we send this postcard to this guy anyway? You're right. Well, because we knew that he lived in a house that was about 15 to 20 years old. And if you're a roofer, you know that after about 15 or 20 years, you're going to start to have roofing issues. You're going to have leaks. You're going to need your roof replaced, right? So that's how the postcards, that's why we targeted this in the first place, right? Because of this. And you already fixed leaks in this neighborhood. So people are already having problems, all right? So those are the facts. Now, how might this play out? All right, so, we have the guy, we already went through the whole thing, right? The guy's out of his mind because he's now, after fixing the roof, he's got the same old problem and he's just can't take it anymore, So he gets your postcard and he calls up, and on the other side, wow, somebody actually answers the phone in a polite voice. Hi, how may I help you? So-and-so's roofing, all right? And that's a good start right there. So the guy goes through and he explains it, and he's so happy right off the bat because the person on the other end of the phone is very understanding and sympathetic of what they're going through, and reassuring that that he's not going to have that experience again. So he says, okay, well, let's set me up for an estimate. Right? So he sets a date for the estimate. The company sends somebody out to do the estimate. They show up on time. They look, they look clean. They drive in a clean truck. They're polite. Like I said, they show up on time. They even show up sometimes. A lot of times they don't even show up, especially here in Florida. I mean, everybody knows that, right? We've experienced that before. And so the estimate is fine. They set the date to get the work done, right? Okay, so whatever, a week and a half goes by and the guy's at work that day and he's driving home and he remembers, okay, this is the day that, they're supposed to fix my leak. And through everything that this guy's been through so far, he's driving home thinking, expecting that he's going to come home and see the Three Stooges on the top of his house, beating each other with boards and falling through his roof and things like that, right? It's because this is what he's been through before. So he gets home and he doesn't see anybody on his roof, and he gets out of his car and he starts walking up to his porch, and he sees a flower on his porch sitting there, a plant with a postcard that says, your roof has been completely fixed. You will not have any further problems. But remember, if you do, call us, because everything we do is 100% guaranteed until you're satisfied. Please accept this house plan as a thank you for trusting us with your home. If you ever have any other problems that you think we can help you with, please call. Please find attached the invoice, which is 10% less than what we quoted you. Again, we just want you to know how much we appreciate your business. Wow, right? I mean, this guy is over the moon with this. You telling me this is the very best experience that this guy could ever have. As a matter of fact, it's so good that In a month, when he's talking to his neighbor and his neighbor says, oh, my roof is leaking, it's making a mess, this guy's going to say, whoa, wait a minute, I have this greatest company in the world. Wait till you see how these guys perform and the type of business they conduct. Okay, that right there is how the secret behind getting customer references, referrals and things like that, right? By always exceeding expectations. Under promise, over deliver. You should write that on a big piece of paper. Under promise, over deliver, and plaster it all over the place, because this is how you want to focus your business. Under promise, over deliver, and you can be successful. All right, now, once you have your ex-customer and you know exactly about them, the next is you need to precisely match your message and offer to their desires. So how to make the message and offer. This is what we need to talk about now. So let me get a drink here. You got to make them an offer they can't refuse, right? That was the worst Godfather impression you probably ever heard. And if I ever do this presentation again, I'll probably remove that in retrospect there. All right, anyway. The idea is good though. You want to make them an offer that they can't refuse. That's how good you want it to be. Just over the moon, right? So your message and offer must match your ex-customer. Okay, so now we're down here. So your message and offer must match exactly what you learned about your ex-customer. It must show that you understand their problem or desire. Understand them. People want to be understood. You must show that you can give them exactly what they want. And ultimately, you want to show that you can help them. You want to show that you can solve their problem. Okay, you see there's sort of a theme here. Help them solve their problem. That's what you want to do. Focus on that. So what goes into your offer and message? So it actually works, right? There's 8 major elements of an offer and message, and you just want to put these on everything, your websites, your emails, postcards, landing pages, wherever you can fit these, you want to try to put these elements on there. And, there's, depending on what we're talking about here, you're not going to be able to put all 8 on, but you always try to fit a few on there, as many as you can on there, because they really make a difference. So let's go through them. I'm going to list them first for you. Okay. And then we're going to go through each one, and I'm going to provide examples. And while I'm going through these, make sure you're thinking about how can I use this in my business, right? That's got to be your mindset. Number 1, headline, features, benefits, clear offer, guarantee risk reversal, call to action, scarcity, and social proof, right? These are the advanced marketing tactics from the theory of influence. These are the 2 that you're gonna really be able to immediately, you should be able to implement in your business, and it should increase conversions and sales for you. All right, we'll get there at the end. Number 1, headlines. Okay, so again, we're talking about the message and offer. All right, headlines. So the function of a headline is to get their attention. That's all a headline is supposed to do, is get their attention, so they'll continue to read the rest of your offer or the rest of your information. So it's got to include whatever their desire or their pain is, because I know that it used to be always just, people would basically sort their mail, the junk mail, over a garbage can. Now people sort their stuff through, it's, internet, right? Online and stuff. But back when they used to, people would just sort their stuff through over the garbage can. It would be, if something didn't immediately catch your attention, it would go into the garbage can. So it's so very important to have a good headline, and it's got to hit their desire or their pain. The goal is to keep them reading, okay? And so let me give you an example here. All right, sorry, I didn't mean to go so fast. Our goal is to keep them reading, like I said. So let me give you another example of a deck building business. Now, we're going to build a deck here, and it's going to be in a more affluent area. So we got to figure out our ex-customer, and we figured out our ex-customer. One of the things that's most important to them is social status, right? In other words, keeping up with the Joneses. Somebody puts in a hot tub, neighbor puts in a pool. Somebody buys a boat, neighbor buys a bigger boat, right? This is keeping up with the Joneses. And this is a powerful emotional buying driver. Social status is just the way it is, okay? And you know, and when you're doing marketing and you're trying to figure stuff out, you don't want to judge any of this stuff, right or wrong, morally, ethically, whatever it is. It's just, it is what it is, right? And you just have to observe it and then you utilize it. So let me give you an example of a headline. Give me three, this is based on social status, right? And it's keeping up with the Joneses thing, because you know that that's the driver for them. So you give this headline, give me 3 weeks and I'll give you a deck that will make you the envy of the entire neighborhood. Envy of the entire neighborhood. That is what that would potentially trigger someone who's worried about keeping up with the Joneses, right? Okay, so the purpose of headlines to get there. All right, let me give you some headline formula examples, okay? The first one is give me blank and I'll blank. So give me 3 weeks and I'll give you a deck that will make you the envy of the entire neighborhood. Or another formula would be who else, right? Who else wants to have a deck that makes the entire neighborhood crawl with envy? So there's tons of these headline formulas and you can, you know, play with these again, focused in your business. What works? Okay, features number 2 and 3. All right, again, we're talking about message and offer here, right? What you want to include in your message and offer, features and benefits. So features and benefits are different. Features would be things like description of facts, the size of the deck, because we're doing a deck building company, all right? So the size of the deck, the type of wood, the shape. The benefits are going to target emotional desires, such as it's going to be an amazing space to host your next barbecue. You're going to relax after a hard day's work because you deserve it, right? So the secret with benefits is you want to get them to start visualizing the future. You want to get them to visualize them using your service and product, right? Visualize them. Once you get somebody visualizing they're using it and they're feeling good and they're reaping the rewards from it, then they're ready to buy, all right? Okay, so think about your business, right? So you're going to list your features, which are going to be your facts and you know, and then your benefits, right? So you want to have a good list of each because they're both very important. So features are important, but benefits get people to buy. Let me tell you a story. So my mom calls me up and she says, "Hi, honey. I need you to take me to the store." And I said, "Okay, Mom, what do you need?" "I need a new machine." I said, "Okay." So, you know, I'm thinking, this sounds like fun. I can picture exactly how this is going to go. So, you know, I pick up my mom, we take her to the store, take her to Best Buy. And, you know, she's looking around, there's like 42,000 computers, right? I mean, there's desktops and laptops and Microsoft and Apple and iPads. And, you know, I mean, it's just mind blowing for just about all of us anyway, unless you're really into computers, right? So she's looking through all these different things, all these different computers, and the sales guy comes over and says, you know, how may I help you? And my mom says, you know, I need a computer. And he says, "Oh, come here, let me show you this one. This one has a ADM Radeon graphics card, 4-core processor, 2 terabyte hard drive, and a 24-inch anti-glare LCD. Well, of course, you know, most of us, you know, especially my mom, she has no idea what the guy is talking about. And so he goes on and does the next computer and shows more of the features. You know, this one has, you know, 1 terabyte hard drive and has a, you know, a 42-inch anti-glare, or what, you know, whatever, right? And it meant nothing. So we didn't get anywhere with that, you know, and so she keeps looking around and the salesperson got called off and he's doing something else. And this other salesperson comes over and she says, you know, "Hi, ma'am, you know, can I help you with something?" And my mom says, you know, she's exhausted at this point. She's like, "Well, I'm just looking for a computer." And the sales girl says, "Oh, well, let me show you this one that I just bought from my mom. My mom loves this computer because she can get pictures from her grandkids and she can search for recipes." Right away, this was the computer that my mom went home with because she started thinking and visualizing, this is the computer that will allow her to get pictures from her grandkids, search for recipes and things like that. Now, we all know that any computer nowadays, right, will let you do that. But you see, it's the benefits that sold my mom on this. It had nothing to do with the features. Features are important. You have to have features, but it's the benefits that hit the emotional desires and wants that you need to focus on. Okay, there's your features, there's your benefits. Once again, you want to get them to visualize how they're going to enjoy the benefits. Benefits, benefits, benefits. Can't say it enough. So once again, before we leave this, really think about your business and actually write out all your features and all your benefits, right? Make sure you have a good list because you're gonna have to use these on your offer message. Okay, next, we have a clear offer. Now, you want to tell your ex-customer exactly what they'll be getting for the money they're spending. It must be clear, it must be easy to understand, simple, and not too many choices, right? There's something called the paradox of choice. Too many options actually decrease buying. A study found that consumers were much more likely to buy a jar of jam when only given 6 to choose from rather than 24. It's just human nature. It shows what happens is when people have too many options, they tend to do nothing at all. So fewer options is going to be better than too many options. Keep that in mind. I recommend 3 options. I recommend a low price, a middle price, and a high price. Whatever you want to sell, your product, your service, whatever it is at, make that your middle price, and then create something that's a lower price and something that's a higher price. And most people are going to choose that middle price because that's just what we do. We don't want to buy the cheapest thing. We're probably not going to buy the most expensive thing. We're going to buy the thing right in the middle. Well, that's what you wanted them to buy anyway. Okay. Not too many options. Very simple for us to figure out and make a buying decision on. So you want to write out your clear offer. What are they getting? Exactly what are they getting? How much is it going to cost them? What are the terms, right? Is it going to be, you just going to pay once? Is it going to be a monthly ongoing thing, pay by the month? Or are they going to take it out of your credit card on a monthly basis? Is it 3 payments and you're done? Is it right? So it has to be very clear. What's the guarantee that you want to know? You want to have this very clearly written out for them. And you always want to be honest, never hide fees or additional costs. I mean, yeah, you can make some money, upfront by hiding some fees and getting your customer on the back end and things like that. But that's not how you build a successful business. You don't want to do that because the short term for what you gain is not going to be worth it in the long term, right? So just be upfront and honest about everything. It's just the best way to do business, and it's going to give you the best chance to be successful. All right, next. The guarantee risk reversal. Okay, so keep in mind, we're still talking about building our message and offer. And because we got to build our message and offer, that matches our ex-customer. So give the absolute best guarantee you possibly can, right? Go out of your way to, even if it seems a little crazy, try to give that best guarantee that you can. Because you want to make sure your ex-customer is at ease and feeling confident and comfortable. You don't want, at the time a person is making a buying decision, you don't want them to have any kind of hesitation because they're a little unsure about, what if I buy it and I don't like it, or it doesn't work like it's supposed to, right? You want to remove all that. Give them the best guarantee you possibly can, within reason, right? Risk reversal. You want to transfer the risk from them to you. It's really just the right thing to do anyway. Let me give you some examples of a guarantee, a good risk reversal, right? If you're not completely satisfied for any reason, simply call us and we'll promptly give you 100% refund, no questions asked. If you don't get the results you want in the first 30 days, we'll give you double your money back. Now, you might say, geez, how am I going to, have a business where I'm giving people double their money back? Well, a couple of things with that. One, if your service and your product is as good as it needs to be, you're not going to have a lot of refunds. You might, maybe 2% is like the average amount of refund that you're going to get, right? So you don't worry about that. If you're getting a lot of refunds, you have other problems, okay? So give a good refund like that. I'll tell you another secret. The longer that you give the refund period, the less likely that you're going to get asked for a refund. If you say, I'll give you 7 days, your refund rate is going to be a lot higher than if you say, I'll give you 90 days, because people just kind of forget about things over time. And that's just the way it is. Okay. So there's a little secret hint for you. Give the absolute best guarantee you can, right? The goal is to remove the risk from the customer's buying decision. Can't say it any other way. And then always honor a refund immediately, right? If you have a refund and somebody calls up and they say, hey, we need, I would like the refund. Give it to them immediately. Don't give them a hard time about it. As a matter of fact, do it just the opposite way. You're going to give them their money back anyway. Make it a good experience, right? Say, oh, thank you so much for trying us out. We're going to have your refund back to you immediately, right? You want to have that, use that opportunity to create goodwill. Even if you're giving money back, the more goodwill you can create, the more likely that person is going to maybe come back and be a customer for you, later in the future, or tell somebody else about you, right? So keep that in mind. Next, call to action, all right? And there's a lot here, but this is all very important stuff, okay? So call to action. So we're still building our message and offer here. Call to action is, it tells them exactly what to do. People need to be told what to do. We all do, right? An example of a simple call to action is call now. Visit us at, right? Because you can have a whole, offer and message, and if you don't tell people what to do or how they can reach you, what they're supposed to do next, they're not going to do it, right? So it's very important, and this is very often overlooked, but it's a very important component. So here's an example. If you want a luxury deck with that will make your neighbors insanely jealous to the next barbecue, then call us today so we can get the planning started. Call, all right, and there's your call to action. So you make sure you have that in there. Okay, number 7 and 8, scarcity and social proof. These are actually 2 of the 6 principles that Cialdini spoke about in his book, and his theory of what influences people. And so this is the secret magic mind voodoo that will encourage people to buy from you, right? Scarcity. Humans are terrified of losing something or missing out on something, right? There's a whole acronym, FOMO, fear of missing out. And this is seen over and over again, especially in like investments, like the stock market, stock market going up and up and up, and people got to get in. They don't want to miss out. They're going in, even though it's irrational, right? And it keeps going up and up. I mean, look what happened. Fear of missing out on toilet paper. Just, people went crazy over buying toilet paper, right? I mean, people don't want to miss out. It's very powerful, right? This behavior. So how scarcity is used all the time in marketing. This offer ends at midnight tonight. There's only a limited number available, 25% off today only. Don't miss this on Black Friday only. Even in our deck example, we can only build a limited number of custom decks per season. So call now or you may miss out. Even grocery stores, no surprise, grocery stores use scarcity too. There is a study that found that by adding the statement limited to only X number of items per person, doubled the sales of that item. Okay, so it doesn't mean that that these are, the products are limited. It doesn't make any sense that they would limit it to one person, right? But they'll put this in there because people think, oh, I don't want to miss out, and it doubles the sales. So Costco does that all the time. You'll see that text in there like that. So make sure you use scarcity in your message and offer, but you got to make sure it's real. Again, you always want to be upfront and honest about everything in business. If you want a long-term successful business, you just got to be honest. You just have to, because it'll catch up to you, right? So you don't want to, say there's only one left, buy now, and really there's, 100 in your warehouse or whatever it might be, right? So, but there's always ways, truthful ways that you can find scarcity, right? So you want to utilize that in your business. Next, social proof. If everyone else is doing it, then it can't be bad. Eric Hoffer, a renowned philosopher, said, notice, when people are free to do as they please, they usually imitate one another. And there's, again, evolutionary, ingrained in us, there's safety in numbers, and including in our decision making. So examples of social proof in marketing. Audience gave it 5 out of 5 stars. 21 million views, social media, right? Viral. I mean, if you see something and 21 million people viewed it, you'd be like, well, geez, I got to watch that too. And then it just snowballs, and that's how things go viral, right? If everybody else is watching, it's got to be good. I got to watch it too. 99% of customer satisfaction guaranteed, right? Most popular this week on Netflix. This is a great story with Netflix. Not too long ago, Netflix used to hide all of their analytical data on watch time of different shows and things like that. And then for some reason, they put it out there, or it escaped. They noticed that if they put it out there on what people were watching more of, what was popular for that, a popular show for that week or whatever, it would make that show and just take off so much more as far as being watched. And so what they do now, I mean, every time you open up Netflix, they'll have popular this week on TV, or popular, most popular movies, most popular. In other words, what are other people watching? Amazon does this great, right? Frequently bought together. So you go and you're going to buy something. It says customers who purchased this product also purchased this, and you're thinking, well, Jesus, so if they also bought this, then maybe I should do that too. Or customers who viewed this item also viewed. Same thing. Powerful, right? It's all subconscious. We think we're logical and pragmatic and this doesn't affect us, but I'm telling you, it all hits our subconscious, and it's just the truth. It's just the way it is. Customer testimonials and reviews. You got to make sure you get this into your marketing. Customer testimonials and reviews. And this is more and more powerful. The more that people are unsure what to do, the more likely that they're going to think that people just like them, what they think is very important, right? Customer testimonials. So you want to make sure you get that into your marketing. Even restaurants use this on social proof. I saw a study, it says restaurants, by adding just the words most popular next to any menu item, will increase sales of that item by 20%. Not chef special, special of the day, most popular. Oh, well, if everybody else is ordering this, it must be right, and it'll increase it. So you can see how a restaurant might utilize this. If there's a particular menu item that they want to sell, maybe they have better margins on a particular menu item, they can put most popular, this is one of our most popular dishes, or whatever it might be, and they'll start selling more of that. It's the way it is. So you want to add social proof to everything, your website, your landing pages, all your marketing pieces, anything you put out, make sure you have some good, powerful social proof on there. Even a checkout page. On my checkout page, for our business, we have customer testimonials and other social proof sort of things, because the last thing you want is somebody about ready to give you their credit card, and they're having final doubts, they're not ready, they're not quite, but if they look over and they see that social proof, oh, well, everybody else is doing it, then it must be the right thing to do. So, okay, keep that in mind. Here's an example I made up of to show you all 8 elements right now. This is, first of all, I know nothing about building decks, okay? And, this flyer is not supposed to look good, aesthetically or anything like that. This is just how you place, or how you would place and utilize these on a marketing piece, all right? All 8 together. So let me show you. Number 1, headline. Okay, so we got our headline there. Number 2, there's our features: a rare imported Brazilian tiger wood, rich in color with striping, weather resistant, last 25, just the facts, right? Features. Next, benefits. A place for tranquil relaxation after your hard day's work, right? It will be the talking point of every party. You'll be the host with the most, okay? So make sure you get your benefits in there and hit an emotional part, getting people visualizing the future with your stuff. You want a clear offer. Exactly what are they getting for what? There's your guarantee, okay? Make sure you have your guarantee down there. Good strong guarantee, 5-year guarantee on everything. Call to action, big, bold, call today. There's the phone number. You don't have to search for how to get a hold of them, and they're telling you what to do. Scarcity. Don't miss out, because it's only available April 15th to April 30th, okay? So there's your scarcity. You want to make sure you get that in there, so they'll call. And social proof. I couldn't believe how everyone raved about my deck. All right, building this deck was the best decision my wife and I ever made for our home. Okay, so there's your social proof, right? So this is an example, a very simple example of how you want to get all 8 components in there for your offer and message. So now we've covered etching your customer. We've talked about making the offer and message that matches what the etched customer's desires or fears or whatever it is that they're trying to get rid of or want is, right? Now, the last thing we got to do is, okay, well, how do we get this offer message in front of them? How do we get it delivered to them so they can actually see it? And that's our third component of direct hit acquisition. Got to get in front of them. Modes of delivery. Look at this list, right? I mean, there's so many different ways, and this is just, you know, there's so many other different kind of examples. But you can use delivery, okay, to get your message out by Google Ads, you know, Bing Ads, postcards, magazines, newspaper, flyer, radio, TV, webinars, YouTube influencers, blogs, videos, you know, business cards, emails, Facebook, right? And it goes on and on and on. But this is the mode of delivery that you're going to use to get your offer and message that you carefully crafted to match your edge customer. Makes a lot of sense, right? It's very logical. So, caution, before you can choose your mode or modes of delivery, you really got to know your edge customer inside and out. You got to know what their driving point is, right? You must know your message and offer. It must be strong as you can make it. Because if you don't know who and where your customers are and what they desire, you can waste a lot of money without any kind of return on investment, right? I mean, look at the examples just that we went over earlier. A plumber marketing to apartments doesn't make sense. Marketing denture cream to a 17-year-old. A lawn company marketing exotic and expensive products in a middle-class neighborhood. A roofing company marketing, you know, brand new, I got my camera, no, I can't see, brand new housing developments, right? Because, you know, brand new houses aren't going to need a roofing company, because, you know, if there was something wrong, they would just, you know, there's a guarantee of who just built the house. So it wouldn't make any sense, right? So these examples that I'm giving here are really obvious. We know they're obvious examples, right? But you need to think about in your business, you don't want to make these kind of mistakes, because you'll waste so much money. Marketing can be very expensive, but it also can be the best investment you can ever make. So you got to remember, not everyone is your customer, like we established earlier, and you want to deliver your message to those who already want what you have to offer. Make it as simple as possible. How do you choose your delivery mode now? Well, you need to know where your ex-customer is. You need to know where they're hanging out, right? So you got to be a detective with this stuff, right? Are they watching TikTok videos? Or are they reading Prevention Magazine? Are they listening to Top 40 radio on their way to work? Or are they work and listen to financial podcasts at home? They live in a house or apartment? Do they hang out on Facebook or Instagram more? What are they searching for on Google, right? Because you utilize Google search term and AdWords to market to them. Do they shop online more? Are they going to stores more, et cetera, right? So you need to know them, and the once you learn their habits and what they're doing and where they're hanging out, you can make a much better you know, guess, right, to what sort of delivery mode is going to work the best. Next, you got to know what's your budget. I mean, marketing can be very expensive, and it varies. I mean, a TV ad is going to be obviously a heck of a lot more expensive than, you know, making, you know, flyers and printing them out on your printer, right? So depending on where you're at in your business cycle and your you know, the money that you have and things like that is going to go into how you're choosing your delivery mode. So you want to choose one or two that you think make the most sense. And then you want to start small, right? You don't want to pick one thing and, you know, blow your whole marketing budget on it, all right? Because there's chances are that it's going to be wrong. And I'm not trying to be negative. I'm telling you realistically, especially when you're first starting this stuff out. So you want to do small and smart, start small and do small tests. Test, right? You got to test, start small and test. What do you want to test? Well, you want to test different price points. And I'll tell you something, in my opinion, don't always try to be the least expensive. Look at your competition, and in my opinion, I wouldn't try to be the least expensive. I mean, I think the worst thing that a lot of business, I know every business is different, and some businesses you have to do this in, but I think the worst thing you could do is compete on price. You want to position yourself to make you above the sort of the top shelf, right? The above eye level product or service, right? And you can do that and charge more. And as a matter of fact, just by charging more, you will position yourself as as sort of the top shelf, because people are going to say, well, geez, if they're charging more, they must be better, right? But that's kind of stuff you got to play with. You got to test that kind of stuff. Okay, you want to test your guarantee. Is my guarantee strong enough? Is my headline good enough? Is my offer good enough? Are my benefits strong enough? Are they hitting the emotional, core of my customer, et cetera? So you want to test, test, test. You're going to be like a mad scientist, right? Test, test, test. It's really a scientific marketing. Everything that we talked about today is all based on, it's a scientific approach. All right. So you're going to test. And since you're going to be test, 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 make sure you only change one variable at a time, right? So if you're going to have a marketing piece and then you're going to do different iterations of it, and you're going to change, let's say, you want to test out different prices. Well, don't on the same piece that you're going to test, change the price and the guarantee at the same one and then send it out. Because when you're getting results back, if your conversion rate goes up or down, you're not going to know what it was. You're not going to know if it was the price, the change of the price, or the guarantee. So you can only change one thing at a time and test it, right? It's the only way, you have to do it that way, or it's not going to, it doesn't make sense. And of course, you got to track everything. I mean, you got to be diligent with, you got to know exactly what pieces are going out, how many people are getting, exactly how many calls did you get, or how many people contacted you, or whatever it is, and how many sales did you get, how much money did you spend on that campaign, how much money did you make from that campaign, right? You need to know, because if you're not tracking everything, you don't know all those details, then you're flying blind. That's not going to work either. You got to take a scientific approach to this stuff. Here's your action steps. We're almost done. Okay. Action steps. Number one, your ex-customer, right? You're going to go to, if you want, you can go to jsnarek.com, right? And there's going to be at that website, there's going to be a little thing that says direct hit acquisition. Click on that. At the bottom of the page there's going to be a download, and you can download the facts and the feeling sheet, okay, that you can print out and write them out for yourself. So that's your ex-customer. Okay, then you got to write your message and offer after you figure out your ex-customer. You got to match your ex-customer after you figure it out. Emotions, you want to hit their wants, desires, or pain. Focus on emotions, right? You got to solve their problem. Whatever their problem is, solve it. And make sure you get them to try to visualize the future using your product or service. The more you can do that, the better chance they're going to want to be with you using your product and service. And then step 3 is delivery, right? So I would say choose 1 or 2 of those delivery modes, right? And again, it's going to be based on a thing, your budget and stuff like that, but choose 1 or 2. Start small, right? Do little tests at a time, and test, test, test until you get a direct hit. Now go out and implement this stuff and make lots of money. That's all, folks. Thank you very much. I hope that I enjoyed very much giving you this presentation, this training today, and I really hope that you can utilize some of this stuff and increase your business. So that's all I have for you. Now, if there's any kind of questions, I can try to address that. Don't forget, this is all through SCORE, right? And the great thing about SCORE is you can get all the help that you need for free, to build your business. I mean, I've only been a SCORE volunteer now for maybe a few months, and I've worked a little bit with some with a few people, and it's a great environment. It's a great experience, and no matter what you need, there's experts at SCORE that can really help you. So I mean, it's really true. It's one of the greatest. What's the word for it? I know there's a word I'm looking for. Resources, right? SCORE is one of the greatest resources out there. You have some of the people, they have such, some of the SCORE mentors, they have such valuable, information that they can provide, experiences, and just, really, it's really a powerful, which is why I joined it. It's really a powerful organization. Darlene says, I need to mention the Pasco Hernando SCORE website. which is pascohernandoscore.org. Okay. So you want to go to the score.com website. And it's Pasco Hernando, which is the branch that I'm a part of. We have a lot of awesome mentors. I mean, one of the things with that they always say you never want to be the smartest person in the room. Well, I can tell you that when I'm in a room, even a virtual room with the other SCORE mentors, I don't have to worry about that. I mean, the experience and the knowledge that these mentors have. It's impressive. So you definitely want to take advantage of that, and there's a lot of things that you might, even if I was working with you on marketing and there's other things that come up that I'm not familiar with, I have access to, all of these other SCORE mentors that have expertise in these areas that I certainly can just refer you to. So like I said, it's an awesome resource. It really is. Okay, so I want to thank you again very much for showing up on a Saturday morning. Again, it really truly shows that you're dedicated and you care about yourself and your business to be spending, we've been at this now for an hour and a half. So it's cool, very cool. And that's why I volunteered for this, because I know there's a lot of people out there just like I was when I started with nothing. And I mean, now my business, my business does millions of dollars annually in sales. And I started with I remember in 2011, I remember the first order we got, it was for $45. And just like everybody else, we started with one single order and we built it to what it is now. We're in nine major cities, and it keeps growing and growing. And so anything that I have learned, I'm more than happy to try to pass it on and to try to help you guys. So, all right, thank you very much. I am gonna check out now, and I hope to see you in the chat room, you guys. Bye bye.